As you can see here, we have MIP's quick fill cap here on the table. Being that you don't assemble the cap, and when you first initially use it, it gets kind of dirty, so you're going to need to know how to maintenance it. The part number for this cap is 15110. You're going to need a couple tools to service the cap. You're going to need, of course, a rag, old toothbrush, a 1/16 wrench, of course your cap, a little bit of grease, and duckbill pliers. So we'll get right to it. As you can see here, you have your cap, and it gets a little bit dirty when you're using it, and there's dirt that builds up in the threads that are in here. So I'm going to try and loosen it up, and as you can see, I can't loosen it up. So what happens is the dirt gets in between the threads, and you can't take it off. And also the main issue is that dirt gets in this net fit right here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but basically little dirt particles in that get inside in between the cap itself and the umbrella here, and it makes it pretty hard, if not impossible, to remove it simply by unscrewing the two. So your best option is to actually use some pliers, and we'll show you how to do that. So you take your duckbills here, and you get right on in here, right in the grooves, and you don't really give it any pressure. You kind of just use it as to be able to turn it. And you just, in like a clockwise motion, you kind of turn it, and as you're doing that, you pull this away. So it's just that motion, and it pulls right off. As you can see if I can focus in there, you'll see some dirt particles on there, and that's basically what happens, is that dirt gets in there, it gets stuck in between, and you need to just basically give it a little bit of coaxing, and it'll come right off. And you can see right in there. See if I can focus for you. See, there's dirt that gets in there as well. So that's the only thing. It's really hard to prevent that. I haven't found a great way to do it, but this is the best way I've found so far to be able to service this thing. So we'll clean that up. You can clean it up with some solvent or anything like that, but I just basically wipe this off. It's not a huge deal. I'll take this off. You're going to want to take the toothbrush here, just kind of just clean up the threads. Sometimes this foam, if you overfill it or something like that, there's going to be some extra little residue in that's on. Just kind of just dab it off is fine. So usually that's kind of all I do. I'll take an air hose and I'll blow off the rest of it in there, and to get any little dirt particles or anything like that that might have been scooped off while you were cleaning it, into the system itself. But other than that, it's pretty much good to go. You kind of want to do this every time you have an event with this thing. You're going to want to kind of take it all apart. You're going to want to clean it. Just make sure it's in working order. Make sure you install it in 3 separate pieces, like in the other video, so it just seals correctly. We can also, I'll show you how to take this thing apart and how to assemble it right now, and we'll get right to it. So you take your 1/16 driver. There's 3 screws here. Kind of put your finger on this because it's spring loaded, so it's going to push this plate back. Once you unscrew this, just kind of keep some pressure on there. Okay, so as you can see, you have your main piece here. Then you have your spacer guide right there. You have your spring. Pop that out. You have, of course, your cylinder. It's pretty clean in there, stays pretty clean, which is nice. And you have, of course, your plunger. And then inside here is another, basically it's your, tap it out of there. You can see you have a ball bearing in there, as well as another little, it keeps your ball bearing up inside. So you have those pieces there. And this is only if you want to go in here and clean it some more. I don't think it's necessary all the time. Maybe every three big runs you take the main portion apart. Just make sure all the seals are good. If you need to get a seal pack, we have those on MIPonline.com. Just so you need to do any seals on your bottle or your nipple cap or anything like that. So that's pretty much all clean. What I would do is just take a little bit of grease, just a moly-based grease or the MIP grease. Take it and just put a little bit on the O-ring itself. Just give it a little bit of lubrication. Okay, that's all lubed up now. We'll reinstall this back in the cap. So as you can see, and then you have your plunger, but make sure that you put in first your little ball bearing. It goes down inside that center hole there. Then you install this facing this orientation. It goes down. And you can install this inside here. And it should flow pretty free. If it doesn't, definitely give us a call. You don't want it to be sticking at all. And you have your spring right here. Spring gets installed. Then you have your guide that goes down into the spring. Then you have your back plate there. Now we'll reinstall all the screws. You can put Loctite on these if you want to. I really don't find that it's necessary. You just don't want to over tighten one or anything like that. I kind of, just like you would on lug nuts on a car, you know, same thing. You kind of want to tighten them all up in a same fashion. Everything's nice and free. That's what you want. Then we'll basically put this all back together. Of course, what you'll want to do is, like in the video, you need to make sure that you have your O-ring here. Goes on the bottom, of course. That's your main seal in between your tank and your cap. Then you'll put on, when you slide this into the tank, then you'll put on this cap, of course. Have it on there. You can get that on there correctly. There we go. So then it'll go on there, and then make sure you load this back inside the top here. There's your other filter. Clean this if you want to. It's not super crucial, but if it's really dirty, I would. And so then you put this on, and then of course you have it go counterclockwise. See if we can get it on there. And it'll spin right on. Of course, you have this in there. Basically, that's all there is to it. This will make sure you do it in 3 pieces, of course, so that this doesn't get held up by this because of that net fit that you have on the cap itself. You don't want the umbrella holding up your quick fill cap and then it not sealing down at the bottom here. So there you go, guys. The entire nipple cap is ready to go for your next run. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us anytime at support@miponline.com. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.